Goth or Jaw?
It's goth. It's goth.
Okay.
Yeah. What part of Miami I'm from? Yeah, I was actually born in South Miami Hospital. I'm a Kendall boy originally. And yeah, just kind of bounced around. Always stayed in South Florida. It's my home. Born and raised. I mean, how I got into photography isn't something so like this grandeur story of like, oh, for the love of the craft. It started with YBV, where it came out of necessity. I had to pick up a camera and shoot my own collections and do my own photos, just because I'm big on just creative control. So that's kind of where that started, and it kind of just evolved. I saw that I can turn it into a business, and yeah, it's also, again, a creative outlet. I've had a lot of fun just kind of taking ideas from just conception, development, and then execution, and then again just showing it to the world. So much of the things that I've done is so produced and thought out, but when working with like water or fluids, I've had a lot of those moments. One that kind of really stands out to me is this photo that I have actually hanging at home. Is this print I did of Jessie, and she was in town. I was like, yo, let's chill, let's go to the beach. I had my underwater housing, and I got this just beautiful shot of like the water running over the dome and her just kind of coming out of the wave break, and if I had to say a shot that like just the heavens aligned for, it would I think it would be that one. I've always been a creator, so it's it just kind of came second nature. Again, it came out of necessity, but I just love making shit.
Yeah, I get
and like at first it was music, and then it was clothes, and then with the clothes it was graphic design, and then shooting, and it's just like been this like constant just outpouring of like creativity. Yeah. Me and Mokibaby, we were internet friends for a bit.
Yeah.
And she was hosting trivia at Soho House one night, and she was like, yo, pull up. And I did, and we've been best friends and collaborators since then. And she's been, she's part of the core team with 3 Points. And yeah, I just kind of got sucked up into it, and I love everyone over there on that team. I love Moki with all my heart, and she's a big influence and part of who I am today. Big learning moments, just kind of, again, owning a business. A lot of it has been through trial and error, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, things happening, and then adding clauses to contracts. But a huge part of it, I think, is how you conduct yourself, like ethically. And thankfully, I had a great mentor, Aaron Novello, completely different industry. Like the guy is a buyer's agent in real estate, but he did coach me a lot just on business practices and setting up systems that kind of are conducive for growth, and not just kind of being very amorphous and just like, oh, I just create art. Like, no, you do have to have some rigidity and be strategic at how you approach things.
No.
In order to grow. If you want your art to be seen by the world, like that just doesn't happen. You need systems, you need a team, it takes a village. Like, I think I never really identified with just like one style. I'm very amorphous, especially like doing client work. You kind of learn to to pivot and shift and kind of, you know, as a photographer, sure, you bring your own, you know, visions to life, but, you know, I think you have to translate the people you work with too, you know, like to kind of really make a great image. Like, a shot, fuck, bro. Nah. I can't narrow down onto one. Bro, I don't know. I feel like, again, this is something that can like resonates with any shooter. Like, you kind of do what you need to do to get the shot, you know, whether that's jumping off a stage and crowd surfing and looking back with a wide angle just to get the sickest shot, like POV with your feet up, you know, of a band or something. Like, I think the most chaotic was shooting a music video for my boys Good Tiger. They're playing a show in Orlando at Back Booth, and the stage is smaller than the psych wall. So they had, you know, everyone on stage plus me, and I'm just like trying to capture, you know, trying to hit all the instruments and like trying not to push anybody off stage. I think that might have been like the most chaotic shit ever. You know, a practice that I like to take is, you know, again, we live life through a viewfinder, but, you know, if you're so concentrated on that too, like, yo, life will pass you by, you'll miss beautiful moments and like really not just miss it, you know. Like, again, something that Aaron Novello taught me was to be like firmly rooted in the present moment, and like you could be on and still be like tuned in, you know, and really appreciative of what you're shooting, what you're listening to, especially if I'm doing something live. And 3 Points actually I've had plenty of those moments, you know, covering and shooting during 3 Points. You know, seeing my favorite artist Bonobo, seeing the Gorillas, that was crazy. You know, like growing up just listening to this just like legendary band, and then, you know, witnessing it and just being it's a different experience, you know, again, having that opportunity, you know, that access. I'm very grateful for it. Yeah. How to capture I mean, it's tough to kind of really encapsulate that, you know. It's either you get it or you don't. You got to really feel the ambiance, feel the energy, and kind of really be in tune with that. And I think being a consumer of it, being a fan, I think that definitely helps. You know, you learn to really clock in and have the pulse on that, you know. Yeah, it's a loaded question. It's tough because for me it's just a feeling. I've always shot with just that feeling. It's never been like this very like black and white like box. It's always just been like, hey, this feels good. Like, I feel like I need to be here, you know. I feel like these settings are lit. Like, it's all just like this crazy innate feeling. I don't know. Maybe people will call it a flow. Fucking no. I'll just be out here not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. Just fumbling in the dark. No. I mean, that it sounds so crazy, but, you know, these artists are brilliant, but they're also people, and that kind of really brings me down back to earth. You know, like, they're human beings, and I think that I don't know, that just like helps. Rosalia, actually, meeting Rosalia was fucking insane. Absolutely nuts. I tried to introduce Rosalia to my sister. My sister couldn't move. Frozen. It's the funniest shit ever. She's gonna hate me for saying that. The book is called Don't Play With Your Fruit. You know, my parents were always busy working. You know, they weren't around, but you know, because they were trying to provide. So thankfully my grandparents raised me and my sister, and you know, we were rambunctious children, and playing with my food was something that I did. You know, I just, you know, and she would always just yell at me like, yo, don't play with your food. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna eat it all, like I'm gonna play with it, you know, just kid shit, I don't know. And yeah, just kind of putting this book together. It took almost 10 years to put this whole thing together, you know, just taking creative hiatuses and curating the whole thing. And I didn't listen to my grandma. I played with my food, you know, I played with the fruit and kind of made a study out of it and made it into a book. I mean, originally, like, photography was this like physical media. You know, you would take an image and print it out on, you know, whatever, for the newspapers, for portraits at home. Like, you'd have photo albums, and like physical media has become this novelty that, like, you know, people want in their homes. And you know, I refuse to believe that, you know, I create things just to live in a digital landscape, in a digital world. So I print a lot of my work, you know, and I think the book it just kind of came to be just because I had this huge body of work, this huge study on like fruits and different ways I cut them and different ways I like got a human element involved. And you know, I just had hundreds of images of stuff and kind of just put it together in a book. You know, it looks great on a coffee table. Physical media is not lost, man. Like, I buy vinyls, I buy prints, you know, it'll never leave. You know, I think digital is great. I think creating for digital is great, but I don't know, like, creating things that will have a physical application is just like imbued with a different energy. It's also so gratifying to see your work like printed out and like tangible. What impression I'll try to leave with somebody, man, that's not for me to say. That's none of my business. You know, I create out of a feeling, and if it makes you feel something, that's, you know, I've created things that have left people with disgust, and on that same body of work has completely impacted somebody differently in a different way. You know, it's none of my business. You know, as long as it makes you feel something, that's it. I don't know if it was really me being Colombian or just like, you know, just growing up being shipped over to Colombia and just growing up around my aunts and growing up in a completely different country. Like, I just had a set of experiences that, you know, kind of really developed and influenced my taste in everything: food, the art I consume, the music I consume, you know, even just like mannerisms. Like, I grew up watching my grandfather, you know, and I stand like the old man, you know, rest in peace. But yeah, I think it does have an impact, my Colombian heritage, but not like, you know, not like
encapsulating.
Yeah. I am here with you. MIAFM is good. I'm very hungry. What's up, guys? I'm Ventigoth. I'm on the record with MIAFM. Don't Play With Your Fruit is out now. Check my link in the bio.